Hello, everyone.
Hey, hey.
Send us some comments if you're in here. Oh, hey, Q. Q is in the other book club with me.
Oh, nice.
Hi, Q.
All right, well, let me share it.
Okay. So we are live.
Where'd that come from?
That's wrong with us.
I think it's upstairs.
Oh, no, it's not. Oh, do we have it playing upstairs?
I don't know.
I thought it was on there.
That's weird.
That's fine then. Wait, why would it be on upstairs? Hi, Stacy. Thank you, Q. I just want this to go away.
Oh, that's supposed to be.
Oh,
Yeah, it was coming on the computer.
okay. All right. Oh. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. We've got, I don't know how many people we have in here. Can you tell, Rachel?
Let's see.
12.
Okay. So we've got, hi Sierra. Hi everybody joining. We've got Ndosi here, who is
Hello.
going to be a part of the live. For those of you who don't know, this is my husband. And we also have my cousin Bestie here, Rachel, who is helping us on the ones and twos to manage the comments and everything. All right. Hello, everyone. Okay, so I say let's go ahead and get started. One of the things I was focusing on today was kind of coming up with some questions for Ndosi to answer and for me to answer and then for you guys to answer as well. I just want to make sure that I stay organized because I got kind of excited about this book and I can get off track. So if you guys have questions and things like that, make sure you put them in the comment section.
Let's start by how many of y'all finished the book in time?
We can't raise our hand because we didn't finish it either.
Yeah, so how many of y'all finished?
That's so funny.
And the book in question, by the way.
This is what we're reading. 8 Dates by John and Julie Gottman. Okay, so first question. What were you hoping or expecting to get out of this book?
So I was expecting to use it as ways to come up with like more date ideas, also to get like more deeper questions that we might have not talked about before.
That's true. That's kind of hard because I feel like for those who don't know, we've been together now for like 12 years and married for 6. So I feel like anything we can talk about, we usually do. So I was excited about that too. Just like things we haven't typically talked about, hopefully.
And we also do like those couples questions things all the time. Like we just ask like your spouse or whoever, there's random questions about, you know, for conversation starters and stuff like that. So we like doing those. So I feel like a book around like kind of having deeper conversation and stuff, I thought that was pretty cool. So
Yeah, so I feel like I was also expecting the same. I was expecting to get, because it promises to be like it promises to give you like things to talk about, like it teaches you how to talk about certain topics. So I was hoping to have a lot of open-ended questions, and they had that. And so basically the reason why we haven't finished the book is because we've been kind of taking it really seriously, answering every single question. And there were some sections, which we'll get to, there were some sections that were so hard for us to like talk through and process. And even as a therapist, I was struggling, like, how can I talk about this in a way that's not going to seem defensive or accusatory? So for some of the sections, it took us, you know, a week or two to even get through them. And so that is one of the reasons why we haven't finished it. We got pretty far, but we haven't finished it, and we plan to keep reading it. And we were even saying today, like, we might even go back on some of the stuff and start reading it.
yeah, I want to redo some of those dates.
Yeah, sometimes we had to skip through the dates. Okay, so overall, how was your experience with the book? At least so far, since we haven't finished.
Oh, I thought it was cool. I like that it was like, I mean, the chapters aren't very long.
I like that.
So that's good, and it always has like an exercise at the end of each chapter. Hope y'all can hear me. I talk really low, so I'm trying to practice projecting.
I'm pretty sure they can hear you. Y'all let us know if you can't hear either one of us.
right.
I know I'm loud.
Okay, so yeah, I like that it has like exercises at the end of each chapter, which has the interactivity and things to think about, and so that was cool. Am I answering the question right? Say it one more time.
I was just asking what your experience has been with the book so far.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, like I've liked all that stuff. So yeah, I was enjoying it, and I want to continue. Okay, great. You can hear me. Thank you. So yeah, I want to keep. I want to keep doing it and keep reading it. I just don't want to feel like as rushed because I was trying to make it for the live and everything.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I definitely want to keep finishing that book. So
Yeah, sometimes we were able to have like a real solid date. And let me give for those of you who might just be joining and not know what the book's about at all. So the book is called 8 Dates. It's by John and Julie Gottman. They are both therapists and they do extensive research with couples, like what will make a relationship most successful. So they have up to 94% accuracy for they have up to 94% accuracy for whether or not a couple will get divorced or stay married in an unhappy marriage. So I was really excited to read it because I value the research element. A lot of couple books that I read are so spiritual or religious that they're relying on just kind of morality instead of science. And I do think the two go hand in hand, but their research is so thorough that at one point they were talking about how they conducted a study where they had people living in apartments and they were actually measuring the stress hormone in their urine after arguments. So it was that thorough of research. They've been doing this research for over 40 years. So I wanted to know, what are y'all learning? So you okay?
oh, I was wondering what that sound was.
It's a plane.
It's a plane. Yeah.
It's a plane. Okay, so now let's jump into the first section. So Ndosi and I both have separate notes on what we thought was the most important elements of each chapter. And so I just kind of wanted to go through and share. The 8 dates are 8 different topics. So the 8 dates are trust and commitment, conflict, sex and intimacy, money, family, fun and adventure, growth and spirituality, and dreams. And so it is a book that I think, there's something in here for everyone. One of the questions we were talking about was, who's this book best for? I think this book is best for people who are dating. I think if you are in the process of dating or you're interested in having a long-term relationship, this is the book to read because it kind of helps you avoid getting into relationships or making long-term commitments with people who aren't on your level or you guys aren't on the same page about those areas. And Dosey was saying,
I was thinking it would be good for premarital counseling or that premarital phase, before you're getting married.
Yeah.
Just to so you can touch on certain topics before you actually get married, things to think about if you haven't just naturally talked about it during your dating phase already. That's why I didn't really think dating, but I mean you could do that too. I feel like it works for all relationships really. Even if you are married, it's good refresher and those kind of things as well. But yeah, I think really good for premarital though.
Yeah, so I think it can apply to, even if you're single, you can. But here's the thing about if you are not in a relationship trying to read this book, I personally think I would be very frustrated to be reading this if I wasn't in a relationship because they're asking you to answer these open-ended questions and you don't have anybody to talk through them with unless you just write down your answers and you just, for your future lives, I think it has to be done for your life. Okay, yeah, in the future, we'll put the closed captions on. Sorry about that. I didn't even realize that was something we would have to manually do. But yeah, I definitely think that this is a book that if you are single and you're trying to go through it, you probably want to just write your answers down and return to them once you're in a relationship. Because I don't know. I mean, how would you feel reading through this without a partner? Do you think it would be as valuable or useful?
No, I think you need to go along with this with somebody. With your partner. Yeah, just doing it alone, I think. I mean, maybe it might help answer some questions for your own understanding, doing it on your own, but I think it's more beneficial to do it with your partner.
Yeah.
Was it Sasha Washington?
What'd you say?
She got to date 3, so that's cool. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's the sex chapter, sex and intimacy. Let's get it on. Okay, so let's get started with some of the things that we thought were really significant in the chapters. And I think you should go through your bookmarks for sure. I'm not even sure. I mean, we have it right here. Yeah.
Okay.
So what are some of the things that you thought really stood out to you? The first chapter is on trust and commitment. And I was kind of surprised at our experience. We started the book during like a little getaway that we did in Augusta. And it was like we had like a very concentrated period of time to just focus on each other and start this book. I was not personally expecting the trust and commitment section to be as eye-opening as it was. Because I thought, we don't have any trust issues in our relationship. We obviously are very committed, which is the case. But what they talk about is how there are so many different ways to breach trust in your relationship. And we recognize there were some areas that we could both improve in as well.
You're married. I was trying to read these. Let's see, make a negative comparison.
Oh, that was a good part.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what I said. Okay, so I highlighted the section in was it trust and commitment, making negative comparisons of our partner with other real or imaginated alternative relationship partners. Those are like negative comps. Yeah, I said this one hurts because we rephrase things. We rephrase things as we would like to do. It's obtainable in our relationship. So basically, it's not a comparison. It's like, I believe that these things are attainable. It's like, hey, we would like to do those things. So that's how I think we rephrase in our relationship that works. So it doesn't feel like, oh, you rather be with this person because they're doing all those things. It doesn't know. I say, hey, one day we're going to be able to, do this together. So phrasing it that way, I like that part. That made me think about that.
I thought that was interesting too, how that actually speaks to commitment, because they were talking about how they were seeing a couple who basically, you had the one guy, they went on a date and the guy was flirting and he was kind of telling his wife after the fact, because she said she's ready to leave because he was flirting. And his wife was like, I could be with somebody else. Like, if you're going to be sitting at a party just flirting with somebody, I could be with someone else. Mm-hmm. And John Gottman said he told the couple, like, I can't work with you because neither one of you is actually committed to the relationship. He said, you are sitting there comparing her to a woman that you're flirting with. And then she's sitting there comparing you to this imaginary person that wouldn't be flirting with someone at a party. So both of you are looking outside of the relationship. You're comparing your partner, and that is showing that you don't have a certain level of commitment. So that's what I mean when I say that they were looking at commitment and trust through a completely different lens than what we typically think of, which is like, oh, are you cheating on me? Are you lying to me? There are so many other ways. For us personally, if you're comfortable sharing, for me, I remember Ndosi was telling me that he didn't trust when I would say things like, oh, I'm going to clean the kitchen after dinner, right? And then I don't do that. It's not a big deal, first, second night, but then when it's weeks and weeks and it's like, okay, I clean it like 3 times out of 4 weeks, that's creating this image in his mind, like, okay, well, she says she's going to clean the kitchen. There's a good chance that maybe she will. Maybe she won't.
Not.
Yeah, maybe she won't,
I'll see you in the morning.
Yeah, then I told him, for me, my thing was video games, right? Mm-hmm. Like, he would get into games, and then I'd be like, okay, can we go to bed? He says, sure. He'll say, one more game.
We all do that.
And then it's like, an hour passes, 2 hour passes.
Someone feels you.
and then it's like, okay, are we really going to bed? And so is it an issue about like, oh, he's flirting with other women? He doesn't let me go through his phone. No, we share location, all that kind of stuff. But those little things definitely contribute to trust and commitment issues. I also want to say that we will be doing 2 giveaways during this live. So the first giveaway will be this book, 8 Dates. If we talk about it and you don't have it yet and you're like, I kind of want to read this book, we will be giving away this book. And then also the next book that we're going to be reading, that you guys, the second one, when I did that video on 3 books that are recommended to me, the next one is called The Drama of the Gifted Child. It's a pretty thin book as well. And this will be the next book that we're reading. And so I'll be giving this away as well. So we'll be doing 2 giveaways during the course of this live. And Rachel's going to be helping us out with that.
And if you're enjoying the live, make sure you drop a like.
Thank you, drop a like. Thank you for
Subscribe if
all
you
the
haven't.
comments.
You know.
I'm like struggling to get through these comments. So thank God for Rachel because she's looking through them for us. And she's putting in all the things that I'm saying, the most important stuff. So thank you, Ray. And so that was another thing that I thought the Trust and Commitment chapter really did a good job, was just basically showing that there are different ways to lose trust and different ways to gain trust within your relationship. What would you say was the main takeaway from the Trust and Commitment chapter? Like, what did you walk away as like, this is the main thing to remember when it comes to trust and commitment in relationships?
That's a tough one. I'm gonna think about that for a minute. Yeah, give me a moment. I'll think of some.
Repeat the question again?
What was the top thing you walked away with? I think for me, the biggest thing was to really seem like you're committed in your relationship. Basically, it needs to be one of your top priorities. When you put other things in front of it, other family, work, whatever, it's going to be a situation where you are telling your partner you are not the person that I trust and want to be with.
I would say, like where it says like foundation of loyalty to each other, like like believing that each other is we're each other's number one basically, and we can be honest with each other and all that stuff. So I just feel like everything else doesn't matter. It's just I'm committed to the relationship, and like just basically putting you first. Basically.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat said making sure you are choosing your partner every time.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
takeaway.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think that pretty much sums it up.
For sure.
So moving on to the next section, which is the conflict section. What was your experience with this section of the book?
Well, took some time to get through for sure.
Yes.
But I mean, it did help us like try to come up with some solutions to things that we really haven't really talked about before. I thought it was interesting how they mentioned in the book about how some problems are like not really like fixable. Really.
Yeah, no, they were saying most problems,
most problems
were perpetual problems.
Yeah. So are not really fixable, and how do you address them or like live with those different things? So that was interesting.
That was like a really big takeaway. The conflict section, I thought that this was like really hard for me to process. Hi, Ray. This was really hard for me to process because I was thinking like, as a therapist working with couples, the number one thing that I think about is how can I help my couples compromise and work through their issues, right? And what I ended up reading about in here was that most problems, I think they said like maybe like 67% or something like that of problems that couples encounter are perpetual problems, meaning they're unresolvable. Like they're not something you can come to a compromise about. Right. And I was like, wait, you know what I mean? So many times I'm sitting there with my clients and we're trying to find a compromise. And for them to say that that is not realistic was a lot to take in. But it's so true when you think about it, because so much of the choices we make are based on the way we were raised, based on like our personalities, you know, based on our value sets. And so like if you're the kind of person, for example, that was raised in the church and, you know, you want to prioritize your spiritual well-being and you have a partner who wasn't raised that way or they don't believe in that, how are you guys going to have conversations about things like offering or tithes or whether your kid should be in Sunday school and stuff like that? And so it's not that it's not possible, but I think that for me, the end result of that conflict chapter was figuring out a way to celebrate your partner's differences instead of trying to mold and modify them into someone different. What would you say was your main takeaway from the conflict chapter?
Let me see what I wrote down. We got well, I took away that there's definitely like more stuff to to dive into and talk about and those kind of things, and to be considerate, I guess, of like your partner's, like concerns and things like that as well. Like if they bring something up to you, like actually trying to, I don't know, like do the best you can to like help with the situation.
Yeah, so like instead of saying that's your problem, figuring out what's my role in this situation? How can I help to contribute to a solution, if possible? Or like they say, if there's not a solution, just accepting who they are. And if you are, they do give specific steps for how to repair conflict. I actually already have a video on that, 5 steps to repair conflict. And so if you want to get more deep dive into that, and if you're watching a replay of this, I'll have a card, but otherwise it's my most recent video after this live.
I highlighted earlier on, like in the chapter, how it says like the couple was saying that they never argue, we never fight, we're each other's best friend, and I can't think of a single thing we've ever fought over. I just thought that was funny because like I guess that would be us. I mean, we don't. I feel like it's not really like, I guess like heated arguing, but I guess there is like conflict where like the disagreements and things, we obviously it's not physical or anything, but it is interesting how we used to think, oh yeah, we never argue, but we do have conflict. So it's still important to understand. So.
Yeah, I think that was another thing, is like thinking about what does an argument mean to each person. Like for some people, I'm working with this with a lot of my couples is, oh, I love this quote too. Happily ever after simply means that both partners are known, valued, accepted for who they are and what they are becoming. I love that quote, Sandy. I think that it is so interesting to think about what an argument means, because for some people an argument means you're yelling. For some people an argument means you're cursing. For some people an argument simply means that you have a difference in opinion, you don't agree on things. What do you think an argument means to you? Because I feel like this is actually where we disagree.
Yeah, I think an argument is like a debate, really.
So just like anytime you have a difference of opinion.
Yeah, like a back and forth like debate, and you're strong on your opinion about something, I'm strong on my opinion about something. So I feel like that's like an argument or some kind of conflict. I don't know. Maybe I'm using them as the same thing, but I guess maybe argue. Maybe it might be the next level, like yelling and like part of like yelling.
That's what I think of as an argument. I think of an argument as like, for example, right now, if we were talking like this and we didn't have the same opinion, I would think, I don't know if I would think of that as an argument. For me, an argument is when you're going back and forth and you're almost unwilling to hear the other person's perspective and you're not reflecting back like, okay, so from your perspective is this. That's what an argument is to me. What about you, Ray? What's an argument to you?
Well, they can't see me on here.
You want to come over here? Oh, watch out for that cord. Watch out for that tree. This is Rachel, you guys.
Hello, everyone.
Our cutie.
So for me, I'm not in a relationship, but I think an argument, like Endo said, is more so debating about something and never really considering the other's point of view and kind of belittling it. And also when yelling or cursing is involved, I feel like the first part is an argument, but the second part is almost like an argument and fight.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
You know what I love about what you said is belittling. I think I think that's a huge part of what an argument is when not only do you guys not agree, but you look down on your partner's perspective of what their thing is. So I agree with that.
Or trying not to understand their point of view.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, you don't want to understand because that's the biggest thing I think people have a hard time with when it comes to healthy communication. Most people think communicating is about convincing a person to see something the way that you see it. And that's the issue that I experience with my couples when I'm working with them. Is I tell them, if you don't walk away with a better understanding of how your partner sees things, you both lost. But if you both can walk away and tell me what it is that your partner was saying, that is great that you can, walk away and say, okay, what you said makes sense, what I said makes sense, and we just don't agree. Or maybe you can understand them and you start to agree a little bit more. So that's, I think, a difference, maybe even how we see arguments. Because for you, sometimes I feel like you think an argument is just that disagreement part. Would you agree that sometimes you feel that way? Like just disagreeing is an argument?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Because
Yeah.
it's like, wait, hold on, wait, what?
See, it doesn't, like, if you can tell, he's like a lot more soft spoken, and he's just like, he likes to think things through and stuff. Me, I'm like, okay, well, this is how I see it. I don't love a debate. I'm not like a person that likes to debate, but I am a person that is comfortable with people having different opinions and understanding more about why that's somebody's perspective and being like, hey, that's a good point that you made there. But sometimes it does be like, see, this is an argument. And I'm like, is it? Is this an argument? So I think that's our biggest argument.
Yeah.
About whether or not we're arguing. Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to, let me read some of these comments because you guys are saying some good stuff. Stacy said, celebrating, hi Stacy, that's my sister, you guys. Celebrating your partner's differences without judgment is so important. I feel like I try to understand how someone thinks. However, it's hard not to think your way is the right way. It is hard. It is hard. I feel like dealing with conflict is one of the most humbling things that you have to go through, because what you're trying to say is like, everything that I've learned, everything that I've thought could be wrong, and be open and flexible to a different perspective on things, even if you've been hardwired to see things one way. So I agree with that completely, Stace. Sandy said conflict is not avoidable. That's right. And that's how they opened the chapter.
Yeah.
Like they were saying, like what Ndosi read was basically there was a couple who were like, we never argue and we're just best friends. But really the wife was feeling like a lot of...
She was, like, it was building up.
Her resentment.
Resentment, yeah.
Yeah, it was building up because she was basically upset that he was playing TV at night and stuff. And so she was feeling like, she was starting to vilify him, but he didn't even know this was an issue because they're so hard trying not to have an argument that they're not even expressing how they really feel about a situation. And obviously, that's not really the best way to handle it. Let's see.
Sierra Livermore has one too.
Okay, Sandy, conflict can turn into a fight for control. That's true. Maybe because the question is, why do you need to be right? Is it so that you can have control, so that you can be the smarter one in the situation? Sierra, I think a disagreement turns into an argument when both people start wrestling over whose idea, suggestion, path is best. That's so true, because a lot of times we have the same end goal, just different strategies of how to get there. And I talked to my couples about that too. Like, okay, the great thing is you guys are on the same page. You want to spend more time with each other. But one of you is thinking that should require you guys working less, and one of you believes that means you guys should work together. You know what I mean? And so if you have the same goal, that should make things easier. But sometimes we get so stuck in the strategy of how to achieve that goal that it gets in the way of actually accomplishing it. Let's see. I agree. This is from Ray Shauna Quarter, my friend. I agree. I think an argument is having a difference of opinions with raised voices. Yes, for me, the raised voices part is important. And not being able to hear your partner's opinion or even try to understand. Yeah. What do you think? Do you feel like raised voices is important to you when it comes to what defines an argument?
Yeah, I think so. Also, I don't know, maybe it's like the mood of it, or kind of like
maybe like there's maybe
irritation or something.
Irritated.
Like what? Like
yeah,
like irritation in it. Like I don't know.
But that's the hard thing, because if you are irritated, right? How do you turn that off in those moments? Because for some people like me, I can say as you guys see, I'm just a loud talker. For somebody like me, if I'm irritated, it already might take so much restraint not to yell that I feel like I'm doing good. That all you getting is the attitude. So I'm like, okay, give me a second. I'm gonna walk out this room. I don't want to talk about this right now. But for Endosa, you might be like, okay, because they're having moments like that where you say, well, see, we do argue. And I'm like, no, I'm walking out so that we don't. So it's hard when you don't have the same opinion of what an argument is even. But ultimately, we do always get to the other side of it. But it is interesting in those moments.
Random question.
Yeah.
Do you think the purple light is like giving less detail of like
The living
background?
room? Do you want to change? You can change the color. Go ahead.
Thank
I
you.
say go.
Yeah.
I think you have an eye.
What color do y'all
Like
want?
yellow or orange would be nice.
Orange? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Y'all might want to mute your mics for a second.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
If you have an
Alexa, set lights to orange. Is that better? No, it's. Oh, what do you have the?
We don't even have the fireplace showing. Oh, we don't even have any fire.
Alexa, set lights to 50%. Is this 100% right now?
Oh, you said it's a 100.
Alexa, set lights to 100%. Is that a little better?
I think the purple was the vibe, but
No, see, that's not. It's
I think it was. I think.
okay.
purple
Wait,
was the
well, we
vibe.
gotta get it brighter. Like, all right, we'll go back to purple. Fine. Cause it's not as bright as it's supposed to be. I don't know what happened.
We love a man with attention to detail.
Whatever I had it up earlier was fine, but I don't know what I had it to. All right, hold on. Let me wait.
Okay, the tone of voice. When dating, what questions should you ask your partner about how they handle disagreement? They have that in the book. So they have. I'll read you some of the stuff that they put in here. That's what I love about this book, you guys, is that it gives you practical things to talk about so you can work through these things. So here's some open-ended questions about conflict that they put at each chapter has open-ended questions and exercises for you. So questions like, how was conflict handled in your family growing up? How do you feel about anger? How was it expressed in your family growing up? How can I best support you when you're feeling angry? How do you like to make up after a disagreement? So, I mean, they have all of these questions. So that's why when I say that, people are voting for purple.
Yeah, they said
They're purple for the win. Listen, now I'm going to put on the purple, you guys. So just saying, just saying.
All right, fine, purple.
But,
Alexa, set lights to purple.
it's already purple.
Oh, that was on Tokyo.
Oh, okay. Well, so if you ask how can you address how a person conflict is affected, that is how you ask them. Or these questions will help you understand how a person feels about conflict.
I'm having trouble understanding.
Okay, just leave her alone.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see the next question. True, my voice. Unfortunately, I didn't get through the book. Question is, do you argue without losing yourself and caving when two people can't agree? That's a great question. Quenisha! Oh, Rachel's like, that's Quenisha. Hi, Quenisha. Y'all, that's my friend from high school. We were in show choir together. Hi, Queen. Yeah, so the question is losing yourself or caving when two people can't agree. They talk about that in here. Basically, learning how not to expect people to mold or modify themselves based on the argument. That's why they said most problems are perpetual. Like, you can't resolve them. So you have to learn to celebrate and accept when possible. And if it is something where there has to be a choice made, sometimes the compromise is required. But I think that this section did a good job helping us, because it took us most of the sections took us let's say half a day.
Yeah, like one session of it.
One session. The conflict session, we were reading through that for a week. Because I'm thinking, we don't even really have any problems like that. But there are little things that were these moments, these things feel unresolvable for us. But I feel like in the end, we were able to come up with some good solutions for working through those things. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see. People like the purple, people like blue. I'll be on your side, Endo. Okay, so Queen said yellow.
Appreciate that.
Okay, so let's talk about the next section, which was sex and intimacy, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Chapter 3.
Chapter 3, sex and intimacy. Let's move on. Actually, the name of that chapter is called Let's Get It On. Now, this was one of the chapters you were the most excited to read, right? I remember you wrote that on Goodreads. You said conflict and sex.
Oh, yeah.
If you're not in our Goodreads group, you guys, find the Goodreads group. I think I have it in the description box. But yeah, we try to talk about little things along the way in those books. And if you're here from Goodreads, hello. Okay, so let's get
Do you
it on.
want to post the Goodreads link in there?
I mean, she probably doesn't know what it is. We can do it later.
Oh no, I'm just saying like for people who
It's already in the description box.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so let's get it on. Talking about that chapter. What were you expecting to see in the sex chapter of this book?
Not gonna lie, probably like positions and stuff. So maybe that's why I was a little disappointed.
Right, because that is not what it was. That is not what it was.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, we already kiss a lot.
yeah, you know what? That was like the main thing they were talking
they're
about,
like-
huh? They focused a lot in this chapter on kissing, and they were basically saying that kissing a lot and having like extended periods of kissing is what leads to more sex. They were saying from like a scientific, like it affects your brain and it affects your body when you kiss a lot. So we've been actually trying to implement some of the keys they had in there. Oh, I thought some of these sex stats are really interesting. So I like how they opened the chapter. They were talking about like finding your normal. They said, we all wonder about other couples. How much sex are they having? How does our sex life compare? What if sex isn't that big of a deal to us? Or what if we've chosen to be celibate? If we're having sex very often, or if the sex drops off, does that mean our relationship is doomed? And I can say these are questions that I get all the time as a therapist. And realistically, I think every couple wonders that. Like, you know, you meet a couple, you're like, I wonder how much sex they have, you know, and you start trying to benchmark how healthy your relationship is based on that.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. They said it's a myth that sex is or should be deeply romantic. I thought that was interesting, right? Because I was kind of like, let the people who are in the relationship decide that. I didn't think that was really something that they should be telling you. Like, don't worry about having sex, romance in your relationship.
Well, I think I highlighted that I liked it because it's kind of like, I guess, trying to put like the certain bar or expectation every time.
Pressure.
The pressure every time. Like, oh man, I gotta have like the flower, like rose petals, everything. Like, yo, if y'all
Candles.
Candles. Like, if y'all in the mood and you know if the mood is right, then let's get it. You know what I mean? So I kind of like that. I mean, not saying you shouldn't be romantic and stuff, but sometimes you know life happens and things like that. Hey, if we got time,
That's
and
a
love
good.
is there. So that's how I took it.
That's a good way of looking at it for sure. And so they said some of the sex stats that I thought were interesting is that 80% of married couples have sex only a few times a month or more, which I was like, what does that mean? 32% of those reporting having sex 2 to 3 times per week. So 32% have sex 2 to 3 times per week. And 48% reporting having sex only a few times per month. So that lets you know, like, a lot of couples are not having as much sex as you might think that they're having. One of the cool parts of this chapter was with, they actually cited a study from a book called The Normal Bar. Now, what I thought was interesting, if we have any Married at First Sight fans in here, Dr. Pepper Schwartz, who is like she's been on there, I think, every single season. I actually think it might be her show. She's a sociologist and she contributed to this research. She was one of the authors of this book called The Normal Bar. Now, I looked it up on Goodreads and it doesn't have great reviews, so I'm kind of just good on the section they have in here because I was thinking about reading it. But they said couples who have a great sex life, these are some of the things that they put in there that are indicative of a great sex life. They say I love you to their partners every day and mean it. They buy one another surprise romantic gifts. They compliment their partner often. They have romantic vacations. They give one another back rubs. They kiss one another passionately for no reason at all. Then they have, in parentheses, 85% who love sex also kiss passionately. So they were really, really emphasizing sex. And then they even did a section on like sex after parenthood and how that looks different. Obviously that doesn't apply to us, but we did still read it. But they mostly focused on how to talk about sex. They actually said only a minority of couples can speak openly and freely about sex. And I thought that was interesting because I feel like we're in like a very sex would you guys say we're in like a kind of
Craze.
sex craze, sex
Focus.
positive, sex focused society? And it makes it where like I'm surprised that people aren't talking about sex more. But I guess when it comes to actually expressing what they like versus what they dislike, sexual history, things like that, people really aren't being open within their relationships. And I'm thinking like, what are your why do you guys think that people aren't having open conversations about sex in their relationship? Because I was wondering like, does it have to do with shame? Like, are people ashamed to vocalize their needs or their boundaries with sex? What do you guys think? Oh, you have something? Rachel's coming over.
We know what y'all think too in the chat. Let us know.
So I think, yes, it is shame to it, but I think it goes back to what you said earlier. I think the shame comes because sex is so openly talked about on social media and different movies and shows. So people are ashamed that they're not maybe as open to the experience or the things that other people see on shows, or like what's that website? The OnlyFans and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So I think that's where the shame is. So you're not open to talking about it because you don't see yourself in the things that you see on TV or movies or online.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, just comparing yourself to maybe unrealistic expectations.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's a therapized definition of it.
Let's see. It could be trust issues discussing with your spouse. I think that's true. Goes right back to the first section, right? Like you don't trust your partner to tell them what your sexual interests are, especially let's say if you have certain kinks. Like if you have a foot fetish or if you're interested in different positions or different toys and things like that that you might be afraid your partner would judge you for. Maybe that could be a source of people not feeling comfortable talking about sex. Let's see. What are you guys saying? That's a good question. I wonder what they mean by talk about sex. Do they just mean talk about the topic or talking about their needs, desires, fantasies, insecurities? They were mostly talking about like what you need or want with sex. Let's see, you see people they don't know very well. That's true. Like if people have had a sexual history that they might be a bit ashamed of, like the question might be like, how did you learn this stuff that you like? And if you know, like you feel like you could be getting judged, that could definitely affect it. But I just was really curious what it was. This section is really good because they have a section on talking about sex. Then the next section is about initiating sex. So like that led to a good discussion for us. Like, what are the ways that you like to have sex initiated? They talked about fantasies, masturbation, like frequency. They have a huge section on accepting the no and keeping it passionate. So I'm going to share with you guys some of the questions they had at the end of this section, because some of y'all might be like, Steph, I'm not really planning on reading this book, but can you just share with me what the questions are at the end so I can ask my partner? I got you, okay?
You're saying they will though.
Some of y'all are saying you will, and if that's the case, start putting your Instagram handle and 8 dates. Put that in the chat box if you want to be entered for the giveaway. We'll be sending it right to you, and this is only for the US. So put your Instagram handle. Reason I'm doing Instagram handles is because YouTube doesn't have DM capabilities, so we have to reach out to you on Instagram. So if you want to be entered into the giveaway for the 8 dates book, just put in your Instagram handle and write 8 dates. And the reason I'm saying that is because we have another book as well that we'll be giving away towards the end. So we need to know which giveaway you're entering for, and it's totally fine to enter into both giveaways. Okay, so here's some of the questions they have at the end. Think about all the times we've had sex. What are some of your favorites? What about that time made it your favorite? So maybe you like spontaneous sex and you guys did something like that, or maybe you like sex that is romantic with candles and things like that. Number 2, what turns you on? Number 3, how can I enhance our passion? Oh, if you don't have an Instagram, I mean, you could put your email if you're comfortable putting that on here. I'm not sure if they don't have an Instagram. How can we contact them?
Not sure.
Yeah. I mean, if you're comfortable putting your Instagram or something like that, go ahead and do that. Okay, what's your favorite way for me to let you know I want to have sex? Where and how do you like to be touched? What's your favorite time to make love and why? And what's your favorite position? So if you're having a hard time with talking about sex, they're giving you ways to talk about it, and they're telling you the things to think about as you're answering these questions. And at the end of each section, they have like a little vow or commitment. I know it's backwards for y'all, so sorry about that. But it's basically like you would look at your partner and say, I commit to creating our own romantic rituals for connection. You know, you're kind of making a vow at the end of each section to improve your relationship. How did you feel about those vows? Honestly.
Honestly,
Yeah, honestly.
I don't mind doing them.
Yeah, I don't mind doing them, but I didn't take them seriously.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't like, remember I vowed to. Like, I don't even remember what this said. Because we had to do the eye contact part.
Yeah. I just like it's an excuse for me to like to hold your hands and look into your eyes.
You're so sweet.
I mean, for real. I'm not trying.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not trying.
Let me tell you, there's a
This is
reason why
fun.
I got
That's
with
the fun
him and we
part.
just never broke up. He's so sweet.
That's the fun part.
Okay, so the next section is about money. It's called The Cost of Love, Work and Money. And we're getting up to the end of where we actually reached in the book. So
Which makes sense because
because we're, got about 15 minutes left.
yeah.
Okay. So let's see. What is something that you thought was interesting about this section of the book? About the money and finances.
Oh, I'm sorry. Say that one more time. You said what did I get from that section?
Yeah.
I felt like a lot of the stuff we were mostly on the same page about stuff. We felt like, money is important for like, like our future and stuff, but we're not like, I'm trying to say, like retirement, those kind of things, so we can like have freedom to do things that we want to do and those kind of things. But at the same time, it's not like money was more important than like, I don't know, like family or time. I don't know. I forget some of the things we were talking about. Along those lines, what do you get from it?
Well, I like the section when they were talking about like family history with money.
Okay.
Because that is, I think, such a big, important factor when it comes to how we view money. So, like, the questions they were asking were like, what did your maternal and paternal grandparents do for a living? What did your parents do for a living? What were your parents' attitudes about money? How did you view these ideas as a child? Did your parents save money or invest? How did you view these attitudes about money as a child? So I feel like they were really, let's say if you and your partner do have a lot of disagreements about money, they're helping you get to the root of why. And I think that's why I love this book, because let's say you can't afford couples therapy, or you're wanting to be able to get to a point where you can work through certain things on your own in your relationship. These questions and the things that they are talking about prior to the exercises will help you, like, if you're trying to figure out, why am I having such a hard time spending money on vacations and my partner really wants me to go on vacations, and you realize, okay, I grew up in a household where there wasn't enough and our whole world changed out of nowhere, and I'm scared to spend lump sums on vacations, right? Getting that type of clarity can help your partner be like more understanding when you're being a little bit, you're being a little bit more frugal, or they might say cheap. And it can help you understand your partner. If you have a partner who, let's say they had a family member, maybe a parent, die unexpectedly. They use that as an example. They had a parent who died like in their 30s. And so what their lesson in life was, we don't live forever. You might have all these plans to do this stuff and then you don't make it. And so helping you understand exactly the why behind how you see money, that is going to make it so that you can be more open with your partner and they can understand you a little bit better.
Yeah, I actually I like that, like reflecting back, I guess, like growing up to see like my view on things, because a lot of times I forget. I don't know, I feel like
Yeah, you don't think about these things.
Yeah, as time goes on, I be like, man, I really be forgetting what it was like growing up. But then I start thinking back on, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. That's why I prioritize doing this. Or even like looking at like some of the good things coming up, like I guess parenting wise, like what they were teaching us about money coming up. that I would like to carry on to teach our kids, or something. Nah, I think it's more important to learn about this. So that was some good stuff to reflect on and think about.
I agree completely. Ray said, these are some great questions for any stage or couples because your preferences could change. That's so true because even like the love languages test, we take that maybe every 2 years, 3 years, and our answers completely change. And you think like, why are they still changing? But as you experience different things, like quality time used to be my number one. But then the pandemic happened and we're like both working from home. I'm like, I'm good on the quality time. Like now I just need you to like tell me that you like me. Words of affirmation. So those kind of things I think they definitely can change. And that's what we were talking about today. Like we plan on going back in this book. So we, some of these chapters have been about like having kids and stuff. We're not there yet. And we want to be able to return to it. Oh, thank you. Somebody sent some money. Thank you so much, Samaya. I really appreciate that. That's the first time that I've ever seen that. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
So here's a little exercise that I thought would be fun because everybody only has to put a number in the chat. And then Rachel is putting y'all's information into a raffle and she'll let us know when we have a winner for 8 dates. And then at the end, we're going to do a raffle for the next book, which is The Drama of the Gifted Child. That was the second most one that y'all voted for. And a lot of y'all specifically said, can we please read that next? Okay. So what enough money means to me. Okay, you guys. So 5 means strongly agree. 4 means agree. 3 means neither agree or disagree. 2 means disagree. And 1 means strongly disagree. So Ndosi and I will share our answers to these. And then you guys can put your number in there as well.
I didn't write mine down.
Yeah, you just have to just remember it. If you have a hard time remembering, like, did the answer change? It's fine.
Well, I don't know. I mean, sometimes some of them were like,
Yeah, it's okay if it changes.
All right.
Okay. For me, and this is the whole thing about what does enough money mean to you. So that's another good thing for you and your partner to talk about. What does enough money mean? So for me, having enough money means having power. For me, I put a 3 for that. I don't really agree or disagree with that. What'd you put?
I think I put either 4 or 5, so 5.
What does the power part mean to you?
Just having control over like my life, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll have like the financial freedom.
That makes sense. For me, having enough money means being independent. I put a 5 on that.
Yeah, so 5 for me as well. I feel like that's at least that's the same kind of thing I was thinking. I'm sorry if I'm slowing this down.
So for me, being independent, I think that is the number one thing that that means to me. That's interesting to see some of you guys. Oh, you put 2 for power, Shai, or 2 for the independence? So for me, having enough money means being strong. I put 2 on that because for me, that doesn't really symbolize strength in any way, having enough money.
Yeah, I say 3. I just really know.
Yeah, because I feel like I can still feel like a weak person and be well off. Like I don't think, for me, that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
For me, enough money means not having to rely on anyone else. I put 5 for that.
I put 4.
And
So
yeah.
But I was saying because even though I have enough money, I still need a support system from family and other people. So I feel like that's still important, and that doesn't require money, just support.
That's so true. And it's interesting because as soon as I hear the word rely, I think immediately of money. So that's why, to me, if I'm relying on other people, that probably means that I'm not self-sufficient. And that's just my own, trauma experience playing out. So remember, whenever we have differences to this, it doesn't mean that it's a disagreement or argument. It just usually is a reflection of your past experiences and your sense of self. For me, enough money means being responsible. I put 5 for that.
I put 5.
Okay. For me, enough money means being able to relax and not worry. I put 5 for that.
Same, 5.
Yeah, if I am at a place where I'm still stressed and exhausted and trying to hustle for things, that to me is not having enough. And so I just want to be able to relax. For me, enough money means being able to have time to do what I like. I put a 4 for that.
I say 5.
5.
Yeah.
Reason I put 4 for that is because I feel like I could have enough money and still have to work. You know what I mean? And so I might not be able to just do what I want to do is just go sit on a beach and just be there 24/7. But that's where like I have more than enough money. But if for enough money, I would say that's what that means. And do you have a winner, Rachel, for the 8 dates? Can you click raffle? Whoever you got in there already? Have you been copy and pasting the?
Yes.
Yeah. So just go ahead and do that. All right. For me, having enough money means to feel positive self-esteem. I put a 3 on that.
I said 4.
4. Reason I said 3 on positive self-esteem is because I could see myself being very, very well off and still having insecurities. So for me, that doesn't mean that it's a very important factor for having enough money.
I guess for me, it's just wanting to be a provider is kind of part of my, I guess, self-esteem. So if I'm able to do that, then I'm sorry, I'm whispering. If I'm able to do that, it makes me feel good. So
Yeah, that makes sense. And so you guys, there's actually, I already did a job. There's so much of those with the scaling 1 through 5. And so I think that, this is another great thing. What they have you do with this particular section is they want you to write it down on your own and then bring it to your partner. So that was a really good exercise that they had for the money section. And then they even have more open-ended questions at the end, like share. This one is to like help foster appreciation with your partner about your finances. So share 3 things you appreciate about your partner's contribution to the wealth of the relationship. How do you feel about your work now? On a scale of 1 to 10, how often do you think about money? And how can I help you feel secure when you're worried about money? So those kind of things, I really think that it makes it so that you are at a place where you understand how your partner feels about money and what's a priority for them. So definitely, you guys, if you want to talk about some of these things, I think that it's a great way for you to have conversations that are going to be a little bit more sustainable. Okay, so
Okay, so we had a winner, but she did it. This is before I put the IG handles in there. I don't know if she has an IG handle.
only IG.
Okay. So let me do it one more time so I can correct that.
All right, and then you guys also let us know if you want to be put into the raffle for the drama of the gifted child. Just again, put your Instagram handle in there.
and put what, child?
Yeah, child, gifted child, whatever. If you want to win that book, we'll be sending it directly to you. So we need your Instagram handle so that we can contact you. If you don't have an Instagram handle, we could use your email address, but just, it's an email address. So I don't know if you want to put it in the chat. So maybe if you have an email you don't really use or something like that, that's fine. But yeah, so the last chapter that we just worked through today, and we've still got some left, is that we worked through, or was that the last one we did today? Was money the last one we did? No, family.
Family.
Okay. So this one is really great for when you're talking about kids and things like that. Who's our winner? Oh, Ray! Congratulations! Rayshana Quarter, you won 8 dates. She might have popped off because she actually has her own. Oh, she's still on there? Okay, congratulations, Ray. You won. You know what's so funny? Ray also has a book club. And we had the live meeting for the in-person meeting for hers on Friday. And I won the gift card based on trivia. That one was based on trivia, though. And then this one is based on raffle. So it's just all synced. This is not rigged, okay? So then we got the next one, the drama of the gifted child. So put those in there, and Rachel will get those going for you guys. Okay, yeah, so the next section was about a family. And I like how they broke the questions down at the end of this one to for couples planning on having children, for couples not planning on having children, or whose children are grown. Here are some of the questions they had us ask. And Ndosi and I, for you guys, are going to mirror. We're going to show you guys how we go about answering these questions so you can get a little bit into our business. And give you guys an idea of how we like to manage these conversations. So what problems do you think we might have maintaining our intimacy and our future family?
Okay, well, This page right here.
Here, you can just look at mine.
Oh, okay.
What problems do you think we might have maintaining our intimacy and our future family? And for anyone who doesn't know, we don't have any kids yet.
I think the problem will probably be just the more responsibility and chores we have, like with having children, and just schedule. Like schedule be different. I know you like to sleep later.
True.
I don't think that's
True.
gonna happen. I don't think that
Y'all,
can
I
happen
wake
no
up
more.
at like 10:30 a.m., okay? So that is going to be a big shift.
Now I'm willing to put my family on my back. You know, I gotta, do whatever I can do, breastfeed, whatever. But I'm saying, but I think at some point I'll get burned out. I'll get burnt out. So
Yeah, that's true.
I think that might be it.
We always joke that Ndosi's probably going to end up being the primary parent. And I think one problem we might have maintaining our intimacy also might just be like, we're already so tired. You know, like just being adults, like adulting is exhausting. And so just being so tired a lot of times I think would affect our ability to connect and even have a sex life once we have kids. So I think we'll have to be really, really intentional about that because I don't know how y'all parents do it. Like, how do you guys maintain the energy to keep your relationship going and also like have all these kids? I just my head, the idea of it is like really hard. Thank you guys, everybody who said we're a beautiful couple and that we're cute. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so once we have the winner for that,
We've been married 6 years.
yeah, we've been married for 6 years and together for 12 years. And I always love to throw in, it's not on and off. We never broke up. That's important to add in there, okay? Because I'm proud of that. They said, girl, when them kids go to bed, okay. I was always a night out.
We're also thinking too, what if they try to like hop into bed with us and stuff like that,
And try to cuddle.
and everyone's gonna be like, oh,
They're so
okay,
cute.
fine.
That's
so
the
somebody gotta be strong, be like, nope.
That's the problem. Between the two of us, who's the disciplinarian? That's the question. Because I don't really know if either one of us would actually be a disciplinarian. But yeah, I'm hoping you guys are right. We'll do an update once we have some kids. How are things going? But like I said, we haven't gotten through, I think we've gotten through maybe 6 of the 8 dates. And Ndosi really wants us to go back. Oh, you guys, some other parts I wanted to tell you about while Rachel is running those numbers for who's going to win. I wanted to tell you guys one thing that Rachel is a real MVP, okay? But yeah, like, so one thing that they do in these dates, they tell you the dates that they are suggesting for you to do for each one. So like they always want you, another important thing with these dates, they want you to not do like a movie date or something where you can't talk. They want you to focus on dates where you can actually segment time, be in a space where you can hear each other. You're not in a rush to leave. You know what I mean? They're like, we only have 30 minutes or an hour to talk through this. Because like, honestly, sometimes it was well over an hour that we needed to talk through some of these things because we took them really seriously, like talking all the way through everything.
Sometimes we went on the mountain.
Yeah, like they would give you ideas for dates to do, and then sometimes we didn't have time for those because we're trying to finish it for this live. And we ain't finished, but we did try to, get through as many as we can. So here's like some ideas. They'll tell you the types of dates to do. So like for the first one, they told us to find an elevated location with a great view. This could be a tall building, a bridge, a hill. Ideally, there will be a bench or another comfortable spot where you and your partner can sit while talking through these open-ended questions. And then they always give you an option for an at-home date as well. So if you're like, I can't get out the house, they'll say, okay, if you decided to have this date at home, you can take turns being blindfolded while the other person guides you around the house. It's a great opportunity to practice clear communication and practicing care for your partner, being guided, and trust in the partner doing the guiding. That's for the trust and commitment section, for example. In the conflict section, they gave you an idea for a date to do outside. And I remember the date idea they gave you for like if you're going to just do something at home for free. They said go on a walk together because you're symbolizing we're going in the same direction, we're holding hands, we're a team. And so I thought that was a really good thing. So if you're like we don't have 8 ideas for dates, they tell you exactly what to do for these dates. So I highly recommend you read this with your partner. But if your partner is not a reader, that's okay. You can do the reading and you can just bring the questions to them. And you guys can just use that as your discussion points when you're talking through these dates. So overall, what would you rate the book so far out of 5?
Out of 5?
Yeah.
4.5.
I agree with that. I give it a 4.5. Only reason I say that is because sometimes the questions were repetitive. Like we would be reading it and we're like, I feel like we already answered that. And like I said, like we're both rule followers. So like we try to go through every single thing and that was kind of hard for us. So that was one of the struggles. But I think Rachel has our winner for the drama of the gifted child. Oh, Quiteria Q. You won, Quiteria Brown. Congratulations. We will be mailing these winnings to you guys, the 8 dates and the drama of the gifted child. I'll contact you guys on Instagram to send you your winnings. And you guys, I'm going to be doing some more lives. I'm going to be doing some more book club lives, but also for any of my, therapists coming up, if you're an emerging therapist, I'm going to be doing some Q&As because I did one last year and just never came back to doing another one. It's been a year and I'm going to do some more lives. So if you guys have ideas for lives or specific Q&As that you want me to do, just let me know. Thank you guys for coming in. I mean, y'all had this chat on fire, okay? It was so hard to keep up. You know, you made Rachel's job hard. You made my job hard. But it's the best, you guys. Thank you so much
everyone.
For engaging in the conversation.
Thank you for Sierra, Sandy, saying we're going to be great parents, hopefully.
Oh, thank you.
That's the goal. What are we trying to be?
We hope we can be great parents. We're trying to work on that disciplinarian part.
Yeah.
That's the part we got to work on. But we love you guys so much. Thank you. For those of you who've been through here through the whole time, or if you're just popping in and out, we really love you guys. And stay tuned. I'm going to be probably doing some more content from this book because there's like so much information to take in. But if you guys have ideas for lives, please let me know. Thank you guys for coming to the live.
Drop a
Bye.
like.
Bye.
See ya.
And congratulations to our winners again.